Peace. Peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Doing pretty good. Can't complain. God is good, of course, all the time. God is great. So, we here, man, in this corner boxing 24. And, man, listen, man, highly anticipating this fight between Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., right? What I want to talk about, what I want to get into, man, is Derrick James, man, the interview I just saw with Derrick James. Derrick James is a funny cat. I would like him. I respect him. Good trainer. You know, he got, two great fighters. You know what I mean? Two great fighters. I'm gonna say Jamel is definitely, you know what I'm saying, great fighter because, and I'll say greater than Spence because you look at because the competition. Jamel, he fighting dudes, bona fide dudes. You know what I mean? He fighting bona fide champions, fighters, and he beating them. You know, Errol Spence, not so much, right? He ain't really fighting bona fide fighters like Jermell Charlo. But Derrick James got two great fighters. I'm going to say that. All right? Or if you want to say Jermell Charlo is great, Errol Spence is good. I'm not going to say Errol Spence is a great fighter. But I give Jermell Charlo a lot of props. You know what I mean? I got a lot of respect for him. But anyway, Derrick James just did an interview, man. He's kind of back and forth. So that's what I want to get into, right? Because you already know I go for Bud Crawford. You know what I mean? I'm a Bud Crawford man, and I got him beating Errol Spence and probably stopping him late. But here's the thing, though, right? In the interview, Derrick James was asked about the task of Terrence Crawford and how Errol Spence is going to fight him, and he said, and the interviewer was talking about Ugas and what he did with Ugas, and he said he has a lot of respect for Ugas. Listen to this now. He got a lot of respect for Ugas. Not because of his skills, but he got respect for Ugas because Ugas stood there and got beat up, got pounded in the face, got his orbital bone, and cheekbone and all that kind of stuff broke, and he didn't give up. He didn't try to find a way out. He said that's the reason he respects him. I wouldn't say that. I say I respect him because he's a fighter in general. He came to fight. He didn't have a good game plan, but he tried to fight a little bit. I just respect him as a fighter. I'm not going to say I respect him because he's getting beat up in the face and he didn't quit. Because at the end of the day, that could have been a life-ending, a life-threatening, career-ending injury, right? Getting beat up in your face like that. I'm not going to say life-ending, but I'm saying life-threatening and career-ending injury, okay? Because if I hit you in your face constantly and breaking up your bones, your cheekbones, your orbital bones, all that, you could suffer with that for the rest of your life. So I just give him props for being a fighter, being a man. But at the end of the day, man, they didn't have a good game plan. They stood right in front of Errol Spence. And that's what he loves. He wants you to stand right in front of him because that's what he does. He comes straight forward and he just throws, even though he throws telegraph punches, you can see the punches coming. But if you just want to stand there and act like you tough, then you're going to get hit and you're going to get hurt. And that's what Ugas did. So he said also, Derrick James also said in this interview that when he brought up Terrence Crawford, but even before he brought up Terrence Crawford, he said, Errol Spence makes you fight him where he want to fight you. So he said, wherever he want to fight you, wherever he wants you at in the ring, basically what he's saying is wherever he wants to position you in the ring so he can get his off, that's what he does. Man, is this man out of his mind? Are you serious? Why he didn't do that with Sean Porter? Why didn't he position Sean Porter the way he wanted to do? And why did he get this? Why was his face bruised up? Come on, man. Derrick James, you out of your mind. You've had the fighters that don't know how to fight, that don't have movement, that stand right in front of you. So for those fighters, yeah, he has made them do that. But when he got in there with a Sean Porter, it was a totally different fight. Out of the 20, right? He only got 28 fights. Okay, so just think about it. All those other fighters was tailor-made for him pretty much. They stood right in front of him. And two of his best fights was Kell Brook and Sean Porter, but the difference between Kell Brook and Sean Porter is Sean Porter challenged him and pushed him backwards and jumped into him, got into his offense. He got into his space, which is something you could do with Errol Spence. You can fight his fight and beat him. You don't have to be afraid to jump into him. You don't have to be afraid to be in front of him if you can make him move, right? If you can hit him and move. If you can challenge him, if you can counter, you can stand right in front of Errol Spence. But he hasn't really had nobody doing that. So no, he don't make, partly true what he said, what he's saying, but not with no good fighters. And the bottom line is, he's saying he could do that with whoever he want to do that with, but he's not going to do that with Crawford, right? If Crawford want to move, Crawford going to move. If Crawford want to bang, Crawford going to bang it. But Spence ain't going to dictate that. That's going to be Crawford based on how he feel about what he want to do, because that's the type of fighter he is. Spence ain't dictating no fight, man, with Terrence Crawford. Even though Terrence Crawford did say he's going to stand right in front of him and he's going to bang with him. And I believe he could bang with him, and I believe he could get the best of it. Because Spence ain't really had nobody besides Porter to stand right in front of him. The difference is Crawford is longer, stronger, and more technically sound. So what Porter did, Crawford could do that on another level, is what I'm trying to say. So, no, he can't make no champion, no real good fighter, fight the way he wants them to fight. But the ones that he's fought, yeah, he can do that. Kell Brook, Sean Porter was his two best fights. The best fight, the toughest fight he's going to be in is Terrence Bud Crawford. Mikey Garcia was a lightweight, man, so I don't want to hear it. Danny Garcia is a has-been. I know he moved up to 154, but why I say that is because he's been fighting for 15 years, man. And yeah, he threw similar amount of punches, power punches landed against, or threw similar amount of punches, power punches against Errol Spence. I don't know what the percentage was that he landed, but he didn't really do too much damage on Errol Spence. Errol Spence still won that fight unanimously. Danny Garcia didn't do too much. He didn't really make him respect his power, okay? Sean Porter made him respect him, and Terrence Bud Crawford is definitely going to make him respect him, okay? And that's the difference, man. So, no, you look at the 28 fights, you got to really understand that he hasn't had too many tough fights. Out of 28 fights, how many challenges has he really had? How many tough fights has he really had? How many people has he really had that say, you know what, man, I'm going here to win, and I'm going to bang this dude up? No, not many, okay? So Terrence Bud Crawford is a different animal. So now after he said that he could make him do that, so then the interviewer asked him, well, what about if Terrence Crawford moves around the ring and does and counters and, you know, fights the way he fights? What is Spence going to do? He said, well, Spence, he said Bud Crawford is a hard fight. That's a tough task. He says a very tough fight, a very tough task. It's a tough task for us. After you just finished saying that Errol Spence could make people fight the way he wants them to fight. He just finished saying that, but now Bud Crawford is a tough task. Okay? Come on, man. Which one is it? You know damn well Bud Crawford is a way tougher task than what y'all up for. Even though he said in the interview that they up for it. No, you're not really up for that. But you ain't got no choice. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, right, you got a belt. That belt that Ugas got is not a belt that he really earned. Okay, no disrespect, but Manny Pacquiao had that belt. Okay, and Manny Pacquiao couldn't fight. So Manny Pacquiao had the belt, and he got stripped of the belt because he couldn't fight. And then that belt was given to Ugas. And then Ugas inherited that belt. He didn't really beat anybody for that belt. So when he got that belt, then he fought Errol Spence. Remember, Manny Pacquiao was supposed to fight Errol Spence, and then he couldn't fight because Errol Spence had an injury. But because of Manny Pacquiao's inactivity, they took that belt from him. Okay? And then, no, pardon me. Manny Pacquiao, yeah. Because of his inactivity, he was going to be stripped of the belt. He was supposed to fight Errol Spence. Errol Spence had the injury. So Ugas stepped into place. And Ugas took the belt from Manny Pacquiao. That's what happened. So pardon me. I had to make a correction on that. So yeah, he did win that belt from Manny Pacquiao. That's my mistake. However, Errol Spence, Ugas, he fought a real good fight with Manny Pacquiao. And it seemed like they had a good plan. And it seemed like he really was up for Manny Pacquiao. But when it came to Errol Spence, man, their plan was out the window, man. They didn't have a good plan. I don't know what happened. So now we're here, and we're hoping that this fight happens in October. I can't wait. I'll tell you right now, Errol Spence is going to be in for a surprise. When he gets hit with them shots and he realizes that this dude ain't going nowhere, he's going to have a problem. At a certain point, he's not going to come forward like that. And when he do come forward, he's going to leave himself open. Errol Spence is very mechanical and very predictable. You see his punches. He do the same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. He do the same thing, man. All you got to do is just pick him off. When you see him getting ready to set, count him. See him getting ready to set, count. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Block. Move. Like, he's very mechanical, man. And I know Bud, they're going to be ready for that. All right, so peace and blessings in this corner, Boxing 24. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Please subscribe to the page, leave your comments. And everybody be safe out there. Wear your mask, social distance. Everybody be safe. Peace.